All right, looks like we are on. Welcome back, everybody, to the Terry Hansen Show. My name is Terry Hansen. It's great being back with you once again on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Greetings from Podunk, Potato Land, Idaho, as usual, and welcome once again to episode 34. It's great to be with you. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of sales prospecting success. Now, gosh, so many of you are writing in and asking questions about things like cold calling or identifying the best companies to work for, best ways to generate leads, or how to get past gatekeepers, or how to use social media, or best cold calling, or not cold calling, but cold emailing templates, all sorts of great and wonderful questions. And it got me thinking a little bit about an experience that I had actually this weekend. My wife and I had the chance to head to Denver, Colorado for a marketing conference. And so as we drove there, one of our stops for dinner, we stopped off in Fort Collins, Colorado. I don't know how many of you have been there, but in their downtown, they've got a great little restaurant. And as we were walking down the plaza, and it kind of caught our eye, and we said, "Hey, let's stop there." So as we went in and checked in with the hostess, they said, said, "How many?" Of course, and we said, "Just 2 for dinner." And so as we were walking through the restaurant, something caught my attention. I noticed there was kind of this big thing sitting on the wall. It looked kind of odd. It was kind of in the shape of a door, and it had this funny dial thing with a big metal handle. And as I looked closer, it was actually a door to a safe. And I thought, "What's a door to it?" And then it started occurring to me, this is an old part of town. This is downtown, old downtown Fort Collins. And as we passed by, I looked on the other side. Sure enough, it was the backside of the old vault, or the old safe for a bank. And as we went through the restaurant and outside onto the patio area, I started paying a little bit more attention to the walls. And as we got seated and she handed us our menu and we kind of went through the regular stuff, I started looking at the exterior walls of this beautiful building, these huge chunks of rock hewn right out of the mountain. They'd been cut to shape, obviously on 3 of the sides, the back side and 2 of the sides. But on the front side, they had left it really rough hewn. It kind of rounded, and you could see where the chisel marks and the hammer marks had chipped away at the stone in order to, have it be basically the right shape and fit it there. And there wasn't just one, obviously, there was a bunch, all of these stones lined up, sitting right there on the sidewalk on the exterior facade of this beautiful old building. And I thought, I put my hand right on it just to feel that rough hewn stone. And I don't know, I'm kind of a history buff, and I started imagining in my mind some of these old guys from the early 1900s, quarrying the rock and pulling it out of the canyon and bringing it downtown, shaping it and sticking it there. And I just thought, man, how long has this building been standing here? It's obviously been a bank. It's probably been a retail store. Now it's a restaurant. I'm sure it's been several other things over the past 100 years that it's been around. And I thought, how powerful are these stones, these pillars, these things that have supported the structure of this building for so long. And it got me thinking, when it comes to you and I as entrepreneurs, or as sales professionals or freelancers, what are some of these foundational pillars that should be supporting our business? We're all in an effort to grow our new business and thrive and grow our revenues and boost our incomes. We've got to constantly be working to acquire and generate new business. But what are those 4 cornerstone pillars of new business success or sales prospecting success? And so I thought I would share a couple of thoughts with you. I've wrapped these up in the acronym BASK, B-A-S-K. And just to play off that acronym, I feel like if you and I can do a good job each day, each week, each month, applying these 4 pillars of prospecting success, we will bask in high performance, in success, and we'll really set a good, solid, strong foundation where we can, again, bask in success. So let's jump to it. Let's talk about this acronym here for a minute. So the first pillar that you and I need to think about when we are working hard to grow our new business and prospect and target our ideal clients, talk with them, schedule follow-up conversations with them, and get them into our sales pipeline, first and foremost is our behaviors. If you've got something to write with, go ahead and jot that down. Behaviors. Now, our behaviors are things like our routines, our actions, our patterns of behavior that we have naturally, done over the last, year, several months, several years, etc. But as you think about what it is you do each day, each week, and each month, What are the routines? What are the habits? What are the patterns that you do as it relates to generating new business? Are you in the habit of consistently and steadily making cold calls or sending outbound messages? Are you in the habit and routine of attending networking events and trade shows? Are you in the habit and the routine of connecting with your ideal prospects on social media? Are you in the habit of reaching out to decision makers? Do you have this sort of consistent routine and habit? And are you taking the actions necessary each day, each week, each month to help you build a solid foundation? So one of the questions that I might invite you to think about is analyze what your current behaviors are. What are you doing or what are you not doing? What should you start doing that maybe you're not? Or and the other way to think about it is, what are you doing that really isn't helping you? What should you discontinue or stop doing, right? So think about that. But behaviors, our routines, our habits, our actions that we take day in and day out, that is absolutely one of the 4 pillars of sales prospecting success. So let's get to the A in BASK. The A stands for attitude. Attitude. Now, when we think about attitude, in my mind, it is kind of a 2-part. It's both the emotional, but it's also the mental strength and confidence that we have to approach decision makers on a daily basis. Sometimes you and I get a little jittery when it comes to cold calling or outbound prospecting or any of these kinds of things. It can be a little awkward. It can be a little uncomfortable. And sometimes our own fears and insecurities start creeping up and causing us to sweat and procrastinate and avoid doing those kinds of things. You and I have got to some degree, take a look at this thing in between our ears and ask ourselves, is my mental and emotional state, is my attitude, my perceptions, my perspective, is it in a strong place? Is there some strength there that allows me to sometimes face my fears or face my insecurities? How do I feel about myself? Do I feel like my self-worth, my self-esteem, my self-value, my self-concept, is that solid and is that strong? If the answer to those things is yes, then we'll be in good shape. But our mental game, our overall attitude is one of the 4 pillars that we've got to master and we've got to think clearly about in order to really have a solid and firm foundation when it comes to sales prospecting and generating new business for our companies. So we've got behaviors, we've got attitudes, and next up is the S in BASK. The S stands for skills. Our skills. Now, when you think about skills, what we're really talking about is the degree of mastery. The degree of mastery that we have over the techniques and the tactics that we use primarily when it comes to communicating. But it also could be mastery over the skills related to things like time management and planning, but all of those. But primarily when it comes to new business development, it's dealing with our communication skills, the techniques and the tactics that we have to learn, practice, and master. If we are still in the amateur stages of our communication skills, like listening skills, questioning skills, presentation skills, closing skills, all of those kinds of things, then we're just naturally going to struggle. Good selling and good business development require a degree of sophistication and mastery over the techniques and the tactics and the skills that we've got to have. So ask yourself, how are your prospecting skills? Do you spend much time refining those, practicing those, working on those? If the answer is yes, you'll be in great shape. But if you and I, we can't master a skill without practice. We're not born, with a basketball in our hand, automatically able to shoot, free throw shots 10 times out of 10. That's a skill that has to be developed, right? So practice. How consistently are we practicing our skills? So think carefully about the skills. That's the 3rd important pillar of sales prospecting success. So we've got behaviors, we've got attitudes, we've got skills, and last but not least, the K in BASK stands for knowledge. Knowledge. Now, when it comes to knowledge, there's a couple of things to think about. The first is, first and foremost, it is how well you know your customers. There is no other substitute for knowing your customers well and knowing their problems and their issues and their challenges, but also understanding their goals, their outcomes, their priorities, things that they're trying to achieve in their business. The more you understand and know your customers, the better. So that's kind of what we're talking about there. But the other part of knowledge deals with your products and your services. How well do you know your stuff, right? Now, if you take all of those two components of knowledge, your product knowledge and your people knowledge related to your customers, if you put all that stuff in a bag and you call that an asset, this bundle of knowledge that you have that's an asset, and you hold it up and you ask, what is all of this good for? What am I supposed to do with all this great knowledge? There's one primary answer, and that is help your customers solve problems. That's it. Short, sweet, and simple. All of your knowledge boils down to how effectively and how well you can solve pretty complex problems sometimes that your customers are dealing with. Okay. So the question becomes is, when it comes to knowledge, is your knowledge helping you solve complex problems for your customers? When it comes to your skills, have you mastered the vital and critical skills needed to go set up a lot of appointments and fill up your sales pipeline? Do you have the mental and emotional strength, the attitude, the perspective, the self-esteem that's needed to help you face your natural fears and insecurities? And are you consistently deploying the activities, the routines, the patterns, the behaviors that are going to help get you the volume of contacts that you need? So those really are the 4 pillars of sales prospecting success. So use this as a little bit of an evaluation. Use it maybe as a little bit of a scorecard. Score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 meaning low, 10 being high. So there's 4 pillars here, total of 40 points. And give yourself just an A, B, C, or D. You know, if you score less than 10, maybe a D. Less than 20, maybe a C. Less than 30, then maybe a B. But somewhere over 30, then an A. But give yourself a little bit of a test. Look at yourself objectively and ask yourself, which one of these 4 pillars am I lagging in? Which one am I weak in? How can I change or improve? So if you want some additional help on this particular topic, then feel free to go over to Facebook, and you can find my profile there. I'll have some links down below for you. But click on our free Facebook group, a group titled Mastering Your Sales Elevator Pitch. And in that group, you can get access to a bunch of free training to help you not only master your sales elevator pitch, but help you get stronger when it comes to the behaviors, the attitudes, the skills, and the knowledge that you need to take your business to the next level. So it's great to be back with you today. Hope everything's going super well for you, and excited to be back with you once again on episode number 35 as we continue our conversation about all of the very best sales prospecting secrets for entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and freelancers. Take good care, and we'll see you on the next round. Bye-bye, guys.